To be part of the MASSP Leader2Leader session. This video overview will be broken into 3 segments: accessing the registration link and logging in, the Zoom features, and what you can expect during the Leader2Leader session. So let's start with the registration link. Within the email, you're going to find a registration link to the webinar. It looks like the one that's currently on the screen. Simply fill this out from the capacity of who you are, the district and school you're from, the role, and if you have a PIC number for sketches, import that number there. Then click Register. Within 24 hours, you're going to get an email from an MASSP team member that includes the Zoom link for the day's Leader2Leader session. You have 2 choices. You can either keep the link within your email and click on it the day of the webinar, or you can save it into your calendar. Either one, you're going to see that there's a link that looks something like this. When you click on this, it will bring you directly to the Zoom meeting. What we're asking is when you access the meeting, come about 5 minutes early to ensure we're set and we're ready to go, so we can clearly see your face and we're ready to start on time. If you want to practice this at any time, just give me a shout. Shoot me an email at steve@michiganprincipals.org. That's Steve at michiganprincipals.org. When you enter the room, you might even want to silence the microphone so that background noises aren't heard. Then, you're ready to be part of the session. Let's move into some of the Zoom features. You're going to notice within Zoom, there's many different features in which we can play around with. The first one is down here, it's the mute button. Know this, when you enter the room, typically your microphone is on. What you might wish to do right from the onset is click that mute button. You'll see a red line go through it, and that means others will not be able to hear you. Again, simply click, and you can mute and unmute yourself. At any point in time you choose not to show your video, you can do the same thing. Click on the video, and it will disappear and either show your name or a picture that you have uploaded. Click it again, and your face comes back. Another feature is this. It's the chat box down at the bottom. If you click the chat box, it will pull over to the right-hand side. You want to make sure it says to everybody so that everyone can view it. This is a feature that we'll use when you're ready and willing to share. You simply type the word next in and hit enter, and that will allow the facilitator to see that you want to be next in line to share your thinking. We'll then choose 2 or 3 people to share their thinking, pause, paraphrase, perhaps ask another question, and then move to a new segment of thinking. One of the other things that you might wish to do is up here in the corner, it's not displaying on this screen, but you can see where the cursor is. There's different views, which you can see different view panels, meaning that it can almost look like Hollywood squares by the icons in which you hit. So just know this, if you show up 5 minutes early to the Leader2Leader session, one of the MASSP team members will be in that room to guide you through these pieces and play around with it and get you comfortable with using the system. So again, Segment 2, the features of Zoom. Again, if you want to hear your voice or have your voice heard, simply hit next in that chat box and we'll call on you to share. Leader-to-Leader session will look something like this. We'll start off with a screen that's generic in nature that says Leader-to-Leader. It might be middle school, it might be high school, but it will pertain to the topic in which we're going to engage. You'll see most people will enter the room, they'll introduce themselves, say where they're from, what their role is, and then our information from MASSP is down at the bottom of the screen. We'll then click to the second slide, which tells people to remain muted, to use the chat feature if they want to pose questions, let them know when the recording will be posted, and then the format in which we'll use, which is dialogue, which simply means you're going to introduce yourselves, and then the facilitators will facilitate the conversation from there. The next slide is the agenda overview. It's always simplistic in nature because we're only together for a little over an hour, and then followed by a focus question to get the people listening in to think through specific lenses. The next slide that will pop up will be the people who are on the panel. At this time, what you're going to do is you're going to unmute yourself, and based on the order that's on the screen, you're simply going to say who you are and where you come from, maybe 5 to 7 seconds, something about yourself, but nice and short, simple in nature about who you are, where you come from. Finally, we'll then go into our conversation, posing a question to you, and when you're ready to respond, remember, put the word next over in the chat box, and we'll call on you to share, typically naming 2 or 3 people in sequence so you know when your share time will be. After we've done that for a good 50 minutes or so, back and forth, posing questions, listening in, thinking deeper, we'll finally go into the last slides, which are upcoming Leader-to-Leader sessions, or what MASSP has for the future events. We'll thank everybody, and we'll conclude from there. So again, an overview, get everybody welcome, remind them of the chat functions that we usually abide by within the meetings, the agenda and a focus questions. You will introduce yourself based on the sequence of names that are on the screen. Short, simple, sweet, and we'll start engaging within the conversation around dialogue focused on the topics at hand. Thanks so much. We look forward to learning with you. Remember, have fun, be natural, be yourself.